Professional baseball, RD, so we can get out on the field.
Okay, so I have the first question.
Yeah, you're in the seat of power.
Okay, so,
And you have tenure.
and I've got my Lundquist cap on.
Yeah.
With all the additions coming, what do you think about having the ability to have a DH now, and how are you going to utilize that position?
I think, for us, like so many teams, right? I think for us it's going to be a rotating type situation. I don't foresee us having one DH per se, like in the classic sense of Hal McRae, Ron Bloomberg, to the more modern era, David Ortiz, Nelson Cruz. I think you'll see that spot be filled by our position players.
So your new position player who is about to sign here, he would be one of those candidates?
He could slide into a DH on a certain day for sure, but I would foresee him playing the field the greater majority of the time.
Do you have a spot for him? Or is it, you want him to play regular third base?
I think we're looking for him to play regular left field.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you talk about your new regular shortstop?
Sure.
Please.
Yeah.
What's he bring?
Well, I think what he brings is a track record of being a true major league performing shortstop. Great defender. He's shown that over the years. And there's been times with the bat it's been productive. So he's been a very solid major league player, especially on defense. And on offense, it's been at times sort of sneaky good and sneaky productive, right? There's been a little variability and some streakiness, but this guy knows how to play. He's got great instincts. He plays with joy, right? You've seen him play, has fun. From the other side, and a lot of it was either interleague play or television, right? Because he was a longtime American leaguer before he got to the Reds. He's sort of fun to watch. I like that.
Especially for a ground ball throwing staff.
Yes.
His addition is.
We're right up there amongst the league leaders, if not the league leader in ground ball rate. So we need defense, and we've had that over the years. Here, which has been a big part of our success when we've played well, when we've had good seasons, is our defense, especially infield defense. And I think we're going to be fine there too with him. And Mac was Mac was awesome last year. Mac was great.
Where does he fit in your lineup offensively in the batting order?
Probably down the order. Initially, but that could change depending on the grouping of players we have on a given night, or even maybe how he's hitting. But I would suspect probably down the order for now.
With Kris Bryant, he's clearly he's like a 25 to 30 homer guy, good defense. He's a top 50 bat in
Right.
baseball. What beyond the sort of basics? What does he bring to this team? What do you want?
Well, again, like most good players, right? They bring a stability and a dependable performance, both offensively and defensively. I think that's, when a guy's passed the test of time and you look at his career numbers, that is, for lack of a better term, comforting for a team, right? Whether, top on down. He's a middle of the order bat who's been proven, and he just, he brings an element of just solid consistency. He's a really good player. He's a really good player.
You guys have tried for him, I believe, before. You tried for him really hard this time. Is there anything else about him that you guys found really attractive that you wanted him in this clubhouse?
Yeah. The thing that stood out for me is that he wanted to be here. He wanted to be a Rocky. And they made it happen. Both sides. Which is something that you want. You want guys who want to be here. And that's great. And that's why, I mean, when you see, Marquez sign, Sensatella, Bryant now, right? Guys in the past, Helton, all the other long-term contracts. Tells you something, right? I like that.
Just in that line, so, I mean, with, just because I'm super curious, but, you're talking about, you mentioned left field and his stability, and I hear exactly what you're saying. He also has some versatility defensively.
No doubt.
He can hit in different spots in the
No
lineup.
doubt.
Are you gonna use
Yes.
him in the
Well, yeah, I mean,
not.
Yes, if it warrants it, sure.
Okay.
But listen, we know that he's been moved around the diamond, right? Joe moved him around a ton. When he went to the Giants, they moved him around, and he was, he's physically and mentally able to handle it. He's fine, but I still think that if we can consistently put a player in one spot, it helps the player. But
But
I mean, it's not. But we also know he's versatile and he can handle it too. So I mean, things are always fluid, right, Nick? You don't know.
Plus, he likes it.
Yeah,
He likes Roto.
he likes it.
Yeah,
I mean,
Giants list.
yeah, sure. I mean, he's sure.
The group that you had coming back this year, it seemed like they were ready to welcome somebody in to have some impact. How much of a lift do you feel that gives that group?
I think it does. Sure, it does. It gives the guys a bounce for sure. You can probably ask them individually how they feel, but from a group standpoint, it sends a great message to our players, our fans. So, it helps. I mean, guys, good players like to be around good players.
As the roster sits now, where does Ron Top fit?
He's in the outfield, right? We saw him in center field a little bit last year. I mean, he's on the team as a, hopefully a productive outfielder. He had a, pretty good first half. Second half, maybe not as productive as the first, but, Tap's a major league player, good hitter. And like I said, had some stretches last year where he was really, really good, really helped us win. But he can do some things offensively, steal a base, on base percentage, get a knock against a good pitcher. And like I said, his defense is incrementally improved each year, as we've talked about over the years here.
Do you have an EZA for him by chance?
No,
Okay.
no.
With Kris, you've seen some homegrown players, I would say call stars recently, Nolan and Trevor, maybe John. Do you think
You mean recently, or even going back to the Rocky history?
I'm thinking more of the group who's
Here.
players who are familiar with this group.
Okay.
Bringing Brian in, was there some psychic damage that needed to be repaired? Is he sort of fill in is he going to work as a sort of replacement figure lead?
No, I think that the guys that were here, are knew what was going on. They're fine in that regard. I don't think they were, in your words, damaged or whatever. What word did you use?
Psychic damage.
No, because they know what was going on.
I think
they know what's
I think the question really that, just to center in on what Nick is asking is, in the continuity of the organization, why do you get rid of an Arenado and don't pay other guys? And now all of a sudden you spend $180 million or whatever you're spending. There doesn't seem to be any continuity to what the organization is doing.
I don't know about that, Barry. I think that, there's, behind the scenes and conversations that are had, right, of trying to keep players and trying to keep that continuity is there, right? I think, I'm not going to speak to, what happened behind the scenes, because that's behind the scenes, and that's part of what organizations do. And there's reasons for everything, but a lot of times they're not public.
Yeah, but how
So-
many years ago was it we were just out front here when you extended Aaron out? 3 or 4 years ago?
Yeah.
And he was all hot to trot. He wanted to stay here. You wanted him.
Sure.
And then the relationship evidently deteriorated. So you wound up getting rid of him, and now you're trying to build back. So
Is
So I
that,
think the
so
psychic-
that a good thing?
well, no, but I think that's the psychic damage that Nick is talking
I know,
about.
that's why I answered. I think
yeah,
the
among
psychic, because
among the fan base.
I
and,
thought
I
he was asking
and
about
maybe even in the clubhouse.
I answered the clubhouse
Right.
thing. Players are fine
Right.
because the players know what happened, but
Can you,
so players are good.
But what about among the fan base?
I don't know. I think they're fine too. They're probably excited, probably super excited, right? Just like they got Russell Wilson, super excited. I think fans like good players, and we just got one, so I would think they're excited and like happy when you sign good
So
players.
you close the door on the rest of it and just move forward.
I think there's a natural progression of players moving from team to team at times. Rare are the days where you have the long time draft and develop players stay with one team. Jeter, George, Robin Yount, Mattingly. I mean, we can go down the line, right?
Right.
In this day and age, we've seen a lot of big time players move, right? Especially recently, or a lot. I mean, you more than anybody should know that about the superstars moving. It's been chronicled. Albert, what a great example.
Right.
Right.
Freeman.
Yeah, now Freddie Freeman.
So you're answering your own question.
Then I should have asked.
Yeah, exactly. You just answered your own question without even knowing it.
And that was pretty good.
Yeah, there you
how does
go.
You
he,
can
how
answer
have
your
you
own
seen
question.
Charlie evolve through the last few years, and what do you?
Oh, there's another guy who signed a long-term deal because he wanted to be here.
And how have you seen him in the last couple of years, and what do you?
Charlie played really well in the second half. Got off to a little bit of a tough start, like a lot of our guys last year. But Charlie's as driven today as he was when I first met him 6 years ago. I've said repeatedly, nobody prepares and plays harder every day than Charlie Blackmon. From when I all my years as a player, teammate, coach. I mean, Darren Erstad comes to mind when I think of that type of like intensity and preparedness and playing hard. And Charlie hasn't stopped one bit. Charlie's he's a pro, and he's for me, he's joy to be around in a lot of ways, but I respect him as much as any player that I've ever had as a teammate, coach, manager.
He could slide into DH every once in a while.
Sure, absolutely. He likes to play though.
He does.
Yeah, that's always a. Sometimes it shouldn't be as long as a conversation when I say, "Hey, Charlie, you're going to DH tomorrow." It should be pretty quick, but it's a long one. Buddy, no, come on, I want to play. Charlie, okay, here's what I'm thinking. No, but come on, I'd rather play. So he's wonderful.
Given that,
He's wonderful now. He likes to play. He likes to be I can't remember the term he uses. Like he wants to be he says, I want to be a baseball player. I don't want to be half a player today. And that's no knock on like designated hitters.
given that, if you were putting a regular season lineup out there.
There you go, Thomas. Go
who's
ahead.
your DH?
What game? Game 1 or game 53?
Game one, Charlie is, I want to be a full baseball player. Kris Bryant's in left field. Who's your DH?
Don't know. Yeah, who's at first? Crone?
Chrome?
Rogers? That second? I don't know, Thomas. Thomas, you know what? I'm going to tell you that April 7th, probably. Or maybe the 8th. Probably the 7th.
Mix right now.
Who'd be in the mix?
Yeah.
Crone, Charlie, Blackmon. That's Charlie and Blackman. Rogers, Iglesias, McMahon, Hilliard, Tapia, Hampson, Bryant. They'd all be in the mix. Daza,
Marquez.
But what about leadoff hitter? Maybe that could get some good
Charlie, Tapia, Hampson, Connor Joe,
Oh, shit, I have to ask you who's going to be your opening day starter.
Marquez, Freeland, Sensatella, Gomber. I'll stop there.
You gotta wait for